Bingo. Welcome everyone. This is our part 4 to our ladder classes. Sir Sivrid and William are going to show rotational movement today. And they're going to talk a little bit about flowing through movement. Much like sword flow, we do a lot of footwork flow as well. So I'm just going to scream for everyone that was interested to come on over, and we will start this up in just 1 minute. All right, our footwork class is starting. Anyone interested? It's open to come anytime you'd like.
Grant, let me show you another tall guy trick you've probably never done before.
Uh-oh.
You ever had to sew 2 pair of pants together to make them long?
Nice. All right, so go ahead and pull your folks in.
So we're gonna go ahead and get started. A couple things where, so Sir Sivrid did a nice job introducing this on Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday. But I just want to go over a couple things at the beginning. One of which is when you think about where your footwork is when you start. We can start with feet, knees bent, butt tucked in, and basically we want your shoulders, chest, hips, head all stacked over your hips all the way through as we're doing these movements. And so part of the movement then is when you think about moving forwards, you think about someone have a rope through your belly button, just pulling it forward, and you're moving your entire body from there, from your hips. The same thing going backwards. You don't want to be leaned over and going backwards. It's always tempting to do that going backwards. But when you're going backwards, you want to be knees bent. Pretend you're sitting in a rolly chair and pushing that rolly chair backwards. So those, when we think about going forwards and backwards, that's really what we're talking about and how we want to move and how we want to make that movement work. So part of the things, just to review, is we want to keep that body stacked over your hips, not lean forward, but keeping there over your hips. We're going to start off and we're just going to do, just because it's always good to get your feet moving and started, we're going to start with one of the basic steps we did last time. And that's just, we're going to start with 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We're just going to do a simple drop step just to get started up here. So you take the foot that's in the ladder, lean over, get your hips moving so you're moving in that direction. And then step out and gather. So step and gather. Step and gather. And so you're moving your hips first and going down the ladder. So if you want to join me and run down the ladder.
Doing a warm up first? Is this the
warm up to
a little warm up? Sure.
So go ahead and move from your hips first. And then you reach, try to shift here.
And think about putting your hip into that position before you're pulling. Your hip drop. You can switch your feet and keep it the same. It doesn't really matter. Yep.
The weird thing is, and lift them, putting the weight on.
Thank you.
That's all.
Yeah, my brain's taking a second.
I know, no, that is actually, that's all.
That's why we want to do this first, because that's part of the rest of the rotation.
Yep. That's it. Lean and yep, lean and right, you can pull the other.
I just love watching you.
Hips are going forward, hips are moving sideways.
So now lean into this point right. Lift and step. Lean, step. You got it. Step into that. Don't worry about leaning your shoulders.
Yeah, because I just need to,
Yeah, just sit on it. Yep.
sitting on it is the goal.
Yep. That's the way.
Yeah, that's completely right.
That's a little different, right?
Because I'm leaning instead of just, because normally I move.
Right? But you're actually doing when you move. So when you move naturally, you're like, you see how you're like, you can move,
Yeah.
right? So you're doing that, but now we're explaining how you're doing it.
Well, you got to explain this stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
And the second step we're going to do for the first day, which we're also going to be using a little bit of variation on later, is then a shuffle step. So we're going to just do, I'm here, I'm going to do step across, step apart. So take
It's not really a cross. Step in front.
step in front, step out.
Gathering and then
So you're bringing together and then apart. So there's a shuffle because you're bringing together, then apart. And again, moving from the hips, keeping your hips pointed straight down the ladder.
At this point, later, that's different.
shuffle implies.
Yeah, so shuffle. And think about, and once again, everything we can do forward, we can do back.
We're like, you were adding an extra like adjustment.
Outside foot and forward. You end up moving the same foot twice, and that's sometimes confusing people.
The goal is to go ahead and end like right in that balanced position. Sort of like
Yeah, and then you're
and we like
A little shorter piece.
Yeah. So each time when you take a step like this, when you're working like this, you want to be making sure that you start off hips over your feet. And when you're done, again, hips should be over your feet. So you start and end, and if you're over shifting or leaning, you'll find that you'll slide out, your feet will slide out.
Think about it.
Different one. Think about always into that pocket. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, exactly like that.
So now we're going to do the first of the rotational steps.
Hold on, that he's finishing up.
Okay, we can do this one first.
I'm a slow learner.
No,
That's
it's
okay.
good.
You're not just
There you
doing
go,
the
good.
review.
Yep. Yep, bring it over.
Yeah, you're overshooting. It's small. You don't have to get
Yep.
way out.
Now bring the outside in.
So watch, if I'm following you. Yep, in front of me. In front of me. Turn towards me. Okay, now you're going to shift into this corner. Now shift back into this corner like you're fighting. Oh, look. Now it's perfect, isn't it? Exactly. Now shift it into back. See, now you're pinning me and trailing. See how you trailing?
And now we're getting, what Bronis was just showing directly is the first part of what we're going to be doing next, which is how you rotate that same step. So I'm starting here, we're going to do the same step, but we're going to start. Yeah, the camera's over there. People are over here though. Yeah. We're going to start
People were
with
going
one
to
foot.
stand over here so he faces the camera.
We're going to put one foot in the ladder.
I had to
Face
come up.
45 in the ladder, so we're facing across. Keep this. So I'm in stance. I'm going to take my outside foot, and instead of just shuffling across, I'm going to point straight down the ladder. I'm going to end here, 45 the other direction.
Here, I got it. Oh, go ahead, brother. You got it.
So, and why we do this? Well,
Stay right in the ladder. There you go.
all I'm doing is every time I take a step like this, I'm consistently changing which corner I'm in, which pocket I'm pressuring, which side I'm pressuring. So this is really useful. Again, you're starting here, you're moving hips, and by pre-rotating your foot, you're not stressing your knee as you come. If you do this and you point that direction, then you try to turn, you can stress your knee. The goal is not to stress your knees. So you're here, and put straight down, or even a little out, depending on how flexible you are. But I just use straight down, and then I rotate on the ball of my foot until I'm here. So every time you come in, you step in, rotate, and face 45 degrees to the ladder. Each time we do this, so it ends up so that you can move forward and back, in and out. And we'll have everyone do this one first, and then we'll look at what it looks like backwards.
The key on this one, you'll find this one called the Tyson Shuffle. So what happens, and you'll see him do this, if Tyson, in a lot of the Tyson fights, he's a lot of times, he'll get into this corner, and then he'll be like, and then uppercut, right?
Did the Kazamata shift?
No, this is Tyson. Yeah, well, it is, yes, because it's Tyson. Although you know who really taught him most of this stuff,
And
right?
if you look at how Bronis and
Teddy
Clive are
Atlas.
doing that, you're watching their hips are moving, driving it with their hips.
Yeah, once your feet know where to go, you can pick up the speed. You can get a little
Williams
momentum
picked
on
up
the
the speed
hip
there.
That's
hit
the way
the
it's supposed to
ground
look at
faster.
the end.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Still loading that outside foot.
Yeah.
Stand in front of him and make him do it.
Fight me!
Stand right in front of him, though. Yeah, don't change your angle. Just stand in
If
front
I'd
of
done
him.
any good up this early, I would
There you
have
go.
done good.
Now go back on the ladder. Try it one more time. Just side walk back down the ladder. Don't turn. Don't hit her.
So you angle 45 across. There you go.
Start in at 45 right here. Right in. Nice and tight. There you go. Now bring your foot across into the other 45. Yeah.
No, here I don't go for
No, because now you're right. Now you're fighting. And you're fighting.
Step a little forward and across. Yeah. Put your foot down the ladder. Yeah, there you go.
Now this gets you larger steps as you get better at it. So, like if I'm standing in front of Sivrid here, and he wants to do it, and he's already in a good position. As soon as you get more burst and more dip, you can actually cover more distance. And as soon as I turn, well, look what happens. Hey, why are you over here? Hey, hey, I'm always a beat behind him, and that's where we're trying to get to.
So you can do the same thing backing up.
I like how you have your protocols for checking.
So again, if we're backing up, the difference. If I'm starting here and I'm backing up, again,
Even I, well, I totally
keeping that rotation, doing things backwards.
And the key is that foot movement, because if I don't turn this foot and I push here and then turn late, that's a huge foot movement, and my hip isn't on them at the same time. So here, my hip is on you. As I move across and I turn that foot,
You need to keep the hips in.
hip is still on, hip is still on.
Yeah. So this keeps the hip and your power facing the opponent. And so you're always able to be throwing a shot anywhere from that stance.
Yep, good. And, yeah, should be past it. Yep, there you go, good.
Yeah.
This one's a little harder because what's happening is you're falling back into your balance, and that's why it's more uncomfortable.
Yeah, I have a hard time standing up on you.
And most of that is because you're actually leaning to fall back, so you have to sit.
You have to
Like
bend
if
your
you
knees a
sit,
little more.
That's the red, white, red.
feel yourself, and then you shift.
Whoa. So going backwards, it's a little easier the more you bend your knees. And again, think about that shift backwards with your hips going backwards. So keep that, yeah. And so when you're going backwards, it's keep your hips bent, toes. So the next one we're going to do, that gets us through that first basic rotational drill, which is a good idea of how we rotate around an opponent. The second one we're going to do is a 4-step rotation. And there's 8 different ways we can do this. So we're going to spend most of the rest of the time on just different variations of this particular move. And this, you won't do exactly this move in a fight. But it is, you might. But you'll also do maybe 3/4 of the move or parts of it. And part of the idea is I can start from any guard or any stance. So if I'm here,
I guess no one ever likes you.
outside of the ladder here, and I want to get around, I want to turn around and face the other direction. I'm going to put my foot in, foot out, foot out. I can actually rotate 180 degrees and end up in the same stance. Now, why are there a lot of different variations? So with this one, I'm starting with my back foot. I'm going to take my back foot, again, point it straight down the ladder, rotate on the ball of my foot, this foot comes out, and then I return to my initial stance. So if I started sword foot back, I end sword foot back. Or then I go the same thing the other direction. And so you can work your way down the ladder. And this is really useful for, so you may not, in a fight, you may not throw that entire thing, but here I am. And now I'm able to come in, come back out, and I'm in stance and the entire time.
His hips are on me the entire time.
And I may be only going 90, or I may be
You
going
could literally throw a shot inside of that. Bang. Right?
And the idea is that I end in balancing stance and I start in balancing stance. So the thing is, you may or may not take a giant step. So here, that last one I did with my back foot. So what happens if I do the same thing my front foot. I maybe take the smaller step and go in.
Oh, I see the butt.
So
See the butt. I see the gyration.
That's why you practice
See the motion in the oh.
all the different variations.
You'll practice all the different variations.
So the first one we're going to do, we'll walk through here, and again, let's see where I can start from so you can see the video.
Right there.
Right here.
Right there is a good spot.
So I'm going to start right foot back. I usually do the thing where I put my hand on my back foot. Why? Because then I remember that's my back foot. So I step forward. I'm pointing down the ladder that way. Or wait, I'll point down the ladder. Step that way. Point down the ladder. Swing.
Oh, you want this?
And I end in my same foot back. We're just going to go down the ladder.
You notice that we're trying to develop a nice flow. This is very much like a dance. So don't get stuck. This is the hardest point to get stuck is this last piece. But the idea is that you want to develop a really nice flow through this. Do it slow first.
And if you can't remember what to put back, like I said, I just put my hand on that leg that's heading up there. You can jump in.
There you go, good. And all the way back. So you're on a 45. You're always looking out. There you go. Good. All the way back. Hit that stance. Good.
Left back.
Good. And bring it all the way back. See, think about, don't look down the ladder, look at it.
A lot of my defense is making sure that it's like, yeah,
Now, so you're back foot. There you go. All the way around. Look at the other way now. There you go. Good. You're turning 180. 180 degrees. There you go. You should be square to the ladder.
And every time we're pointing down the ladder.
See how you're looking down the ladder? Look at me. Yep. And then look at him. Okay. Yep. I got it. Look at me. That's it. Look at him. That's it. Look at me. There you go. Look at him. Look at me.
So when you get to that last step,
A little bit off
you're in your stance.
Okay. Okay.
And then come back forward this way.
But if you fight this way, it's exactly the same.
Yep. Make sure you're in your stance. So come back over here.
So just like all our other drills,
See how angled.
what this is teaching us a lot of is how to constantly change where our balance is in the center of our body and use that for movement.
Stepping in, rotating.
So
you want to make sure that this foot is still pointing forward and this foot is still pointing forward.
right back to that same starting point. So we're going to do the same thing
Next one.
with step number 2, just a little bit difference. The only difference is I'm going to start with my front foot. So my front foot is going to be what steps forward. That's going to be a little short step, pointed down the ladder. I'm going to have to take a really big step with my back foot, because it's going to swing all the way around here. And my short step is going to be my foot coming back out again. So this is a little weird because it's a short first step, long second step, short final step.
This is the urge to do that short step, long step, and then end with your feet swap. That third step is just a tiny little correction. It feels really weird right after you
So, and every time again, you can end up in the stance you started in. So if I'm starting left foot forward, I'm going to step, turn, and I end with my left foot forward.
So
Do
the
the same thing,
first step is real tiny.
and left foot forward. And left foot forward.
This is hard. And then when you switch your feet, it's like right. So if I think about maybe a partial turn on the manual, so you're not uncomfortable. But watch, as soon as I start turning, I should.
Yeah, so I do
Just get your toe in there, all right?
That's why that's important. Because if you're not used to, okay, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here in my guard again. So you can do it, so you switch stances too. But this particular exercise, we're just trying to train this skill.
Big step.
Front foot. There you go. Good. Yep, think of just passing through. I'm passing through.
Yep.
Now stop lifting up at the end. Just pass through on a line.
Try to keep your head the same
Yep.
height.
There you go. Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Much nice and smooth, like we're dancing. There you go. Good. And again.
They say fight
That's
to
it.
stay
And
dance.
again.
Your left foot forward
That's it. And again.
Every time you stay in
Good.
the same
It gets
stance you
easier
do.
and easier, right?
Like, I'm sure we could invent new variations.
So when you're doing here, when you're doing this one, you start with the left foot.
Like you're lifting it and jumping in. There we go. Good. You see how that's sliding on the end? Slide, keeping yourself close to the ground.
Step back here, step back out.
So you're always
And then the next variation, which we're working through right now, is okay. Now this time I'm going to start by working the left foot. Front foot has to be short.
Now I want you to go ahead and just take a little bit. I want you to really dig into this one more.
With your left foot.
Think about really flow and get a little
So that second step with your back foot has to be this.
drop into your stance.
Big step, short step. Short step. You just did backwards, which is fine because we also do that one as well. Should be facing down the ladder that way when you make your turn. You turn this way. You're here. Short step. So you face that direction, and then you go in short step. Always when you make the turn, face down the left.
You got it. Right. And again, this is not necessarily something you'll see and do. What these will, all of these will change into angle.
So instead of
All situational on what you're doing. What you're trying to do is get comfortable with the step.
come in front of me.
Ultimately, you're really trying to get comfortable with making sure the direction that you're going is how your foot turns in.
So again,
We're not very good.
same thing right here. I'm fighting William. I want to make sure that I'm coming around to that side. I'm going to step, point into him, so I'm always pointing, facing him. And now in my stance again.
Oh, you already got the one. You just can't.
And so it's good for moving around and rotating around. So then we're going to do the next part of this same thing, step 3, which is, will look an awful lot like step 1, only instead of starting, if you started with your right foot back, this time, start with your left foot back. And we're going to start with the back foot. Back foot moves in, points down the ladder, short step, big step. So now I'm ending again in the same opening stance, which is going to be my right foot forward. Then you do the same thing, point down, left foot still back. This is so easy to make the swap between. Yep. And so this way, I want to go that way around somebody. If I talk here, I want to go around here. I'm here. I have something I've done. I switch foot. So the whole point of that one is then, again, you start reversed from your normal stance. Back foot points down the ladder. And back foot down the ladder, and I just reverse mine because this is hard to do. And you always end with the same foot backwards.
You should still be right foot forward. Yeah, shorter. So, back foot in.
Yeah, and then back foot goes back. There you go.
The commentary on this is that this is hard because we're not used to being in a different stance. And by the way, when you find pieces of this that are hard, work on those more than the pieces that are easy.
Now, if you're a fighter that fights in a more neutral stance with your both feet equal, each of these is functionally the same thing, but you may end up with one a little bit more. But the other thing is, even if you're a fighter who normally fights this stance, you will find yourself in one of those other stances at some point. And so being able to move through that stance, even if it's not your normal standard guard, is very helpful.
Remember all the way back to day 1 where we talked about why bother with all these ladder drills and their 8,000 variations. It's so that when you inevitably end up in the middle of a fight with your feet in some weird position, you don't get caught off guard. You don't have to think about it. Your brain automatically goes, oh, I know what to do. And
Once you understand it,
shuffles around to where you want to be.
So we are now on variation 4. And variation 4 is again switch foot, so you're away from your normal foot. And this one is the hardest one, just mentally for some people. I'm going to take my front foot, point it down the ladder, swing back, come back front foot, and I end up in that. Whatever your funny foot is. Same thing here. I just did it wrong.
You want to fall back into your regular stance, which is good. That means you trained your regular stance really well.
he's already switch foot.
And so you start switch foot and switch foot.
And when you watch when they do that, you start here, and everything is like, holy cow, there's 6 more inches of that. That's nuts. Right, you don't think about it. You're like, I'm talking about shit.
Ladder around the
How do I go around? With, how do I do around? Like here, I'm like, okay.
to maintain like B range.
Yeah, so you say, okay, I'm always at.
All right.
So that's our first 4. And you say, well, I said 8. Well, what's the 8? It's the same 4 backwards. What does backwards mean in this case? Well, you want to stand here? So if I'm in my normal stance, I'm going around past him.
Now he's pushing me back.
Now I'm pushing him that way. But the thing is, I can also
It's hard to break the habit of lifting.
come backwards.
That place, don't.
And so I'm giving ground, but I'm still maintaining corners. And so
Do it again without
we're
being
going to do that here. So that's why you might use that. And how you do that, again, we're going to start normal stance. Back foot's going to go, point down the ladder.
Yep.
And I'm going to end up over here. So instead of going in the frontwards, I would go
Forward.
and go in that direction towards him. This way I'm going away from him. I'm going that way down the ladder. As we're going backwards, which basically means we're traveling this way down the ladder as we go those same steps. So you start with your normal stance, move your back foot first, point it down that way down the ladder, and then come, when you're done with your guard, you should end up over here. So again, instead of going forward that way, I'm going this way. Yeah, exactly. And we just keep going this way.
Make sure you turn all the way around and actually
Bring your
face
foot
like
back, foot back.
fully that way.
You move your front foot first this time. That's pattern 5, 6. Fine. 5.
But what we're trying to do is rotate so that
So you should end in whatever your normal stance is.
go ahead and make that movement. Well, now you're focusing
Back foot back, normal stance.
all the way through that movement.
There you go. So instead of covering ground up the ladder in this exercise, I'm covering ground back the ladder. And so this is the way you can fight with someone's advantage.
Everything wrong. He's doing a front crossover one time and a rear crossover the next.
Still out.
Back with the always go forward.
We do both.
Yeah, okay.
So the next one is we're going to do the same thing, start in our same normal guard. Same normal guard. Again, in my case, it's short foot back. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to do front foot pointed down the ladder, swing back. Again, I'm getting ground going backwards. Shield, yeah. Yep.
Nice job on feet adjustment there. That long step and you get your foot back.
So we have two more variations on this, and that is simply the next two ones are going to be, not surprisingly, we're going to go backwards, or we're going to start goofy foot. So in this case, I've just switched my foot to the alternate stance from what I did the other exercises in. So my left foot's going to go back foot forward, down the ladder.
I'm gonna get it.
Again,
Let's just get my weapon.
going away from wherever my toe is pointed as I turn.
Why do you call it a goofy foot?
It's just it's
Skateboarding
a
and
name
surfing.
that got pulled up. Normal sort of shield stance from ages ago was this. So when they started switching to the long foot forward, they started calling it goofy foot. That's all. It's not really goofy foot. You should be able to throw from any position.
But it's a sword foot.
It's sword foot forward.
It's sword foot generally forward.
Yeah, it comes from skateboarding.
Is that what it is?
I don't know what you're speaking of.
Yeah.
So in that case, you're using sword foot forward. Next time, just when you do it, just do your back foot.
Back foot.
Is that thing that's where generally should always be
So if you're going backwards,
See how that's the second movement, right? So if you're here and you want to get your back foot engaged, if I don't, I can go this way, and I'm, here I am, I'm turning, or I can start turning this foot and then more of a movement, right?
and you're more likely to be off balance.
Right.
So the last one of this style, as people are going through it, is me. I'm going to be starting off in my reverse foot. I'm going to move my front foot first this time. Pointed down the ladder. So I'm going to start and end in what for me is an opposite from my normal starting stance.
And you can see actually here, Sivrid's having a little bit of rough time with balance through this one. This is actually what we're working on. If Sivrid actually drops his body a little bit more, he'll probably find himself a lot more in balance. Oh, what you know. All right.
So if you watch Boomy's class from a couple days ago, he talked about just getting that muscle stretch for pelvic tilt.
Yep.
So same thing that was talked about before is duck butt. Just try to keep that yourself. Keep your tailbone under you. Or finding your saddle if you're a horseman.
But I have my.
And you can change these in. Right? So the idea is to develop flow in this and be very comfortable on your feet like you're a dancer almost.
So I'm going to make a couple more comments on things we can do with these exercises. There's no reason you can't just hop back and forth and say I'm going to start, and I'm going to start, do back foot, then front foot, then back foot, and so you keep changing back and forth and practicing alternating so you're not always taking the same step. The other thing, that can be true of any of the footwork we've done so far. If you're doing a drop step,
and then back.
Sometimes it's useful to do some kind of random forward back because you'll find out all of a sudden, well, I'm balancing too far forward, and when I go backwards, I'm not on my balance. And almost no fight. Yep. Not no fight, but almost no fight. Will your opponent just let you keep going towards them?
Right. Don't
without
get caught
responding.
in a pattern.
And so being able to go,
See how he pulls me on that back step? Because I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to be to him.
so all of these things we've been doing that have a forward and a backward component, you can alternate them through as part of your exercises.
That's correct.
Now there's one last exercise we're going to do. So the triangle step.
You want the actual triangle step?
Yeah, was the other rotational step. Do you want to lead that one?
All right, and we covered this at the first day. Everybody, real quick, we did what was you'll find the Tyson step is a tick-top step, or what it really is just a shuffle step. So in this step, what's happening is this foot's coming back. If this is my circle around my opponent, if that circle comes forward so you can see it, if I have a circle right here, I'm always on the outside of that circle. Because my feet are straight. So at no time does this distance between me and him change. On a triangle step, and again you have to watch because I've seen a lot of different ways people do these, but on a triangle step it's a gathering step instead of a shuffle step. I come over here, I gather. Now if I want to get to this side, I am passing through a striking zone to the outside zone again. So there's a difference between a triangle step used, which is gathering step. So as you get a little, let's stand right here. So here I am, I'm going to stand in your corner. I am this far away, right? I step, and then I'm back this far away.
Triangle step with a rotation with a gather step, so a drop gather. Come closer. Now I'm exaggerating that distance,
Right,
but still.
but it is a distance change. So just
I go from
understand.
here,
Yeah.
then at a peak, and then back out again. And so that's a changing range thing. Whereas the shuffle step, which we talked about when we were doing, we're staying at the same range. And so that's just something to be aware of as you're looking at rotational movement. We covered lots of different ways to do rotational drills. All of these can be done much the same way. Around a Pell, I believe Count Louis, or Louis did a video 2 days ago on how to move around, and you employing a lot of these ladder work drills in a rotational sense. So once you're comfortable with some of these things, look at that video and look and see, well, how can I apply some of these exact same techniques around somebody instead of just down a straight line. Because obviously, none of our
Not
lists are
everyone's
straight
going to give you a straight line. All right, anybody questions?
What about a zigzag approach? I've heard that term.
No, I haven't actually heard of zigzag, although are they talking about that zigzag is here? Yeah. So that's a zigzag, but that's just actually, but really, in most of this case, that is a triangle.
Yeah. So
I am just pushing your forward.
yeah, well,
It is a kind of a zigzag.
yeah, William, if you come on out here for a second. So if I'm fighting William, just go in your guard. So then I step out here, he pressures out, he steps back there. So I step over here, he pressures back there. So if I apply a pressure on opposite sides, and all I'm doing is a gather step every time, I'm forcing him, and if he wants to, he has to escape down the sides, but he's more likely just to keep going back for whatever the restriction.
Yeah, because it's usually having a drill with that rail. You're like making decisions.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you for joining us online, and hope to see you either out here on the field or at another coach's corner.